Hey, Shabbat Shalom, YouTube tribe. This is Brother Richard from Ozarks Altruistic, and I'm coming to you today to read the Torah portion for the week. And that Torah portion is called Shalach, or Shalach, as some would say. All right. It goes from Numbers 13:1 through Numbers 15:41 for the first portion of the Torah portion. Okay, so here we go. Numbers 13:1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel. Send one man from each tribe of their fathers, every one a leader among them. And by the command of Yahuwah, Moshe sent them from the wilderness of Paran, all of the men who were the heads of the children of Israel. And these were their names. And the tribes of Reuben, Shammua, son of Zakur. The tribe of Shimon, Shaphat, son of Hori. And the tribe of Yehuda, Caleb, son of Yephaniah. From the tribe of Issachar, Yigal, son of Yosef. From the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun. And the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu. The tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sodi. From the tribe of Yosef, from the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, son of Susi. So from the tribe of Yosef, from the tribe of Manasseh, because Yosef is the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, so it's Gadi, son of Susi. From the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gamali. From the tribe of Asher, Shethur, son of Mikael. From the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, son of Wolfsi. From the tribe of Gad, Geuel, son of Maki. These are the names of the men whom Moshe sent to spy out the land, and Moshe called Hoshea, the son of Nun, Yahushua. Okay. And Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, Go up here into the south, and go up to the mountains, and see what the land is like, and the people who dwell in it, and whether they are strong or weak, whether they are few or many. Pretty important here. And whether the land they dwell in is good or evil, whether the cities they inhabit are in camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether the forests are there or not. And you shall be strong, and bring some of the fruit from the land. Now the time was the season of the first fruits of grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Sin as far as Rehob, near the entrance of Hamath. And they went up through the south and came to Hebron, and Ahiman, Shishi, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, were there. Now Hebron had been built 7 years before Soan in Mitzrayim. Now the descendants of Anak are basically individuals that cohabitated with and mated and mixed with the fallen. Okay, so there was DNA from what we call the Nephilim, okay? And they may be even considered Nephilim at this point. So this is part of what's going on in that land, and pretty much why the Father's going to remove them and put the children of Israel in there, okay? And they came to the Wadi Eshcol and cut down from there a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bore it between two of them on a pole, also the pomegranates and the figs. That place was called the Wadi Eshcol because of the cluster which the men of Israel cut down from there. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. Now 40 is a number of judgment. It's a number of that represents a time period where some trying things happen, perhaps. And we could talk about the 40 days and 40 nights that Mashiach was in the wilderness. But we could drag it on back to Moshe. The 40 days and 40 nights he was up on top of the mountain whenever he was receiving the Torah. And also he would return down, and then he would have, the golden calf thing happened, then he went back up again. So 40 days and 40 nights. And then we can go to the example even before then with Noah, or Noah, as some people call him. And they were on the waters for 40 days and 40 nights, okay? And there's more examples, but 40 seems to represent a number of a period of time where there's judgment, hardship, / difficult things, interesting things going on, to say the least, in the scriptures, okay? And they went and came to Moshe and Aharon and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. And they brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land, because that's what they were told to do. And they reported to him and said, we went to the land where you sent us, and truly it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit. But the people who dwelt in the land are strong, and the cities are walled and very great. And we saw the descendants of Anak there too. The Amalekites dwelt in the land of the south, while the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwelt in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Jordan. Now these were all people that were being tossed out by the Father himself, by his hand, to put them into the hand of Yahushua and the children of Israel, so that they could have this land. Okay, so we have these individuals that were the leaders of their tribes coming, and doesn't sound like they're too positive. Okay, but here we go, 13:30, and Caleb silenced the people. There we go, before Moshe, and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are certainly able to overcome it." But the men who had gone with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we." You hear how I kind of knocked it down a little bit? Like Yahushua was like, "Let's go." And these people are like, "Yeah, I don't know if we can do that." Well, you don't, pay attention to the Father too very much. He puts people into your hands to begin with, and even is the reason why you take a breath to say those foolish words. So here we go. And they gave the children of Israel an evil report. Evil is a negative against Yahuwah, okay, because evil is against Yahuwah, wickedness, of the land which they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have gone as spies is a land eating up its inhabitants. And all the people whom we see in it are men of great size," because like I had said, they had mixed with the fallen, and their DNA was jacked up. "And we saw there the Nephilim," just spoke about that, "the sons of Anak of the Nephilim. And we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we in their eyes." Now, you have people foolishly saying, "Oh man, these guys, they were being negative and they made all this up." They didn't make this up. Okay, this actually happened. And so did they have a reason to fear? Well, let's put it this way. All right, so sometimes we succumb to our emotions. And sometimes I succumb to my emotions. And fear is a very strong emotion, okay? And so what happens is it can conflict with what we call our trust and faith. And me personally, I don't let it do it that much, because whenever the Father tells me to do something, I feel that he is going to make a way for me to do this, okay? And so the Father actually told Moshe to tell them to do this, okay? And they are being naysayers at this point, but we have Caleb. We have Caleb's, okay? And Caleb, people say, that means dog. Well, in all actuality, it does refer to a dog, but it refers to faithfulness, as in trust. And Caleb sounds like he has a lot of trust and faith in the Father. Because, well, like I said, the breath we take belongs to the Father. So I say if the Father tells us to go do something and scout out an area and go move to it, which I ought to know personally, I've done it a couple of times, that we should do this, all right? A lot of times there's grumblings and there's negativity. It's in all of us, okay? But what we have to do is we have to fight against that, because, and I've said this before, we have to fight against negative things in all aspects of our life. We have to have our intentions on track, okay? Our intentions have to be right with the Father, okay? Next thing is going to be our thoughts. We have to corral those thoughts, and then that's going to help us with our emotions. Okay, and then our words, right? These guys' words, and then their actions, okay? So what we're doing is we're going to tie all that to Torah-based trust in Messiah, because we know that he can defeat the things that are in front of us trying to destroy us right now. So yes, I'm going to liken this back to the Messiah, because we know the Messiah, hey, you know, we can trust him. And we don't see, but we know, okay? They didn't see that the Father was doing something for them, but they you know, at least some of them knew, okay? And some of the other ones were succumbing to their emotions. I hope that makes sense. There's more I could say about that, and I will as time goes on, but if I do that today, we're going to not be able to finish the Torah portion. But anyway, so what I would like to point out there is we have people that have a lack of faith or trust, and we have individuals that are zealous and have all trust that there is. The Father says he would like for us to be, and I'm not going to quote the verse because, you know, I don't always have the memory on that, but I will tell you to look this up, and you can. The Father wants people that are zealous and on fire. He doesn't want people that are ice cold. He doesn't want people, well, actually, he would rather you be ice cold, but he doesn't want people in the middle. He doesn't want you lukewarm. Well, I don't know. Maybe we should go to the land. Maybe we shouldn't. Because what happens with lukewarm, it's not getting warmer. Lukewarm is always getting colder. You understand what I'm saying? So it's always moving to the other side. So here we are, zealous, and we need to keep our zealousness, or we're going to become lukewarm and eventually cold. So we're fighting for that. The Father's looking for people that are zealous. Okay, so Caleb is faithful. He is one of those. So is Yahushua. So Yahushua is the name of the actual Messiah. So the book of Yahushua, or Joshua as you know it, is the story of what our Messiah is going to do. I see that. We'll talk about that when that comes up. But here, let's move on to Numbers 14:1, or we'll never get there, right? Then all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried. They were influenced by these people. And the people wept that night. Okay? Some people are easily swayed one way or the other by other people's, their emotions as well, their negative emotions. So you can infect a whole area with negative emotions just as well as you can infect a whole area with positive emotions. Some people can't take your positivity, but it's not your responsibility for them to help them be able to deal with that. They're going to have to deal with that themselves, and if they cannot, then that's their problem. You stay on fire because you're going to stand in front of the judge yourself, okay? And he wants you to be, he wants you to be on fire. Okay, so there's that. And all the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe. Ooh, that's not good. And against Aharon. And all the congregation said to them, if only we had died in the land of Mitzrayim, and if only we had died in this wilderness. You said so. And why is Yahuwah bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? Ooh, it's almost like calling the Father a liar. That our wives and children should become prey. Would it not be better for us to turn back to Mitzrayim? So Mitzrayim in this situation represents the world. It represents someone who's like, oh, well, I used to keep the Torah, but yeah, I kind of just stopped. And well, here I am again, back and forth, back and forth. So the Father doesn't want that. He doesn't want people that waver. He wants people that go, yeah, I'm trying to keep the Torah. I'm not really doing so great at it today. Father, it's called repentance. Father, please forgive me and help me to understand these things and help me to be able to have the willpower and the strength and the wisdom and the knowledge and we could go on to understand these and keep these scriptures. Okay. So that's what I pray, and I pray that in a little bit more detail, but we'll pray together sometime too. That'll be good. Some of you I've already prayed with. So they're grumbling against the Father because they're grumbling against Moshe and Aharon, and those are his representatives. Just like if you're grumbling against the Messiah somehow, you don't do that. That's a no bueno. Miriam entered into some judgment over that. Okay. So anyway, and why is Yahuwah bringing us to this land to fall by the sword? This is 14:3. That our wives and our children should become prey? Would it not be better for us to turn back to Mitzrayim? And they said to each other, let us appoint a leader and let us turn back to Mitzrayim. Then Moshe and Aharon fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. They did that to make supplication to the Father because these people were being idiotic basically, and they were also influencing other people to be idiotic. So they made intercession And that's what Messiah does. He makes intercession for us. And Yahushua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Yephaniah, who were among these who spied out the land, tore their garments. That was the thing they did when they just were really upset. And these two guys are zealous, right? Hey, they're leaders of these clans and they mean business. They want their people to see these things and understand, hey, we're not going to act like that. We are going to be zealous to Yahuwah. And they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If Yahuwah has delighted in us, then he shall bring us into this land and give it to us. A land which is flowing with milk and honey. Reference to the promised land, right? Only do not rebel against Yahuwah, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their defense is turned away from them, and Yahuwah is with us. Do not fear them. But all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Then the esteem of Yahuwah appeared in the tent of meeting before all the children of Israel. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, how long shall I be scorned by these people? And how long shall I not be trusted by them? With all the signs which I have done in their midst, let me smite them with pestilence and disinherit them, and make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. And Moshe said to Yahuwah, then the Mitzrites shall hear it. For by your power you brought these up out of their midst. And they shall say to the inhabitants of the land, they have heard that you, Yahuwah, are in the midst of these people. That you, Yahuwah, are seen eye to eye, and that your cloud stands above them. And you go before them in a column of cloud by day, in a column of fire by night. Now, if you shall kill these people as one man, group punishment here, then the nations which have heard, the nations is heathens, by the way, then the nations which have heard of you your report shall speak, saying, because Yahuwah was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give to them, therefore he killed them in the wilderness. And now I pray, let the power of Yahuwah be great, as you have spoken, saying, Yahuwah is patient and of great kindness. Yahuwah is forgiving. He's forgiving crookedness and transgression, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. This is confirmed. Okay. That's actually a footnote. This will be confirmed in Exodus 34:7 and Jeremiah 30:11. You should look those up. You might have these references. Okay. Please forgive the crookedness of this people according to the greatness of your kindness, as you have forgiven this people from Mitzrayim even until now. And Yahuwah said, I shall forgive according to your word, but truly I live, and all the earth is filled with the esteem of Yahuwah. For none of these men who have seen my esteem and the signs which I did in Mitzrayim and in the wilderness, and have tried me now, these 10 times, 10 tribes, by the way, and have disobeyed my voice, shall see the land which I swore to their fathers, nor any of those who scorn me to see it. Okay? So what we're talking about here is he said he is all-encompassing. He is everywhere in this property, in this land, in this world. And they're not even going to be here because it all belongs to him. And if they're going to act like this and not trust him, then he's going to treat people like they should be, Father doesn't give you a reason not to trust him. Man is the one that gives you a reason not to trust them. And the Father, there are scriptures that talks about trusting in men, okay? So brothers are growing in trust. That's what happens for us because we also sin and make mistakes. But we should never have anything but trust in the Father because he keeps every bit of his word. And here it is in front of our face. And you know what? Hey, they asked for this, right? They said, hey, just, what about the destruction of our children out here? What about the destruction of us? Well, to the third and fourth generation, we'll see what's going to go on. But I do know for sure that these people, like he said, are not going to make it. So their children are going to be brought into this land. We'll see what goes on. So I'm not saying the third and fourth generation of their children are not going to go in. I'm saying they are going to make it into this land. But there are things that happens 3 to 4 generations deep that are maybe not as expedient of a punishment as having them drop in the desert dead after 40 years of walking around. There's another 40 for you. But yet things still happen through these generations, and we'll see that as time goes on. But my servant Caleb, okay, no one's going to see it, but my servant Caleb, I'm sorry, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me completely, I shall bring into the land where he sent, and his seed shall inherit it. I'm going to read that again because I think I butchered it. Okay, so I'm going to go up ahead of that again. Okay, so none of them shall see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor any of those who scorn me see it, but my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit. Now, does that mean he doesn't have the Ruach? Absolutely freaking not. Who is on fire here? Who is zealous for Yahuwah? Okay, so I would say that the people that have a spirit other than the Ruach would be the people who are just belly aching and complaining and turning their back and backstabbing at a difficult time. You hear me? Things get a little bit difficult, so there's some backstabbing going on. Okay, and so the Father doesn't have room for that. All right. But my servant Caleb. Okay, so I shall bring him into the land where he went, and his seed shall inherit it. So faithful people will inherit the land. That's like a picture for times to come up, right? So since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are dwelling in the valley, turn back tomorrow and set out into the wilderness by the way of the Sea of Reeds. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aharon, saying, how long shall this evil congregation have grumbling against me? I have heard the grumblings which the children of Yisrael are grumbling against me. Say to them, as I live, declares Yahuwah, as you have spoken in my hearing, so I do to you. I told you. He talked about them dropping dead out there. They talked about them dropping dead out there, and they also talked about their children dying, but we'll see. The carcasses of you who have grumbled against me are going to fall in this wilderness. All of you who were registered according to your number, your entire number, from 20 years old and above, none of you except for Caleb and Yephaniah and Yahushua, Caleb, son of Yephaniah, and Yahushua, son of Nun, shall enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in. I'd like to correct myself because I want to read the Torah as good as I can. I hate to add little words or take little things out, but, as I try to make sure that I'm talking to you directly, it's hard for me to find my place back sometimes. So just please forgive that, okay? So now we're going to speak about the children, the innocent ones. But your little ones, whom you said would become a prey, I shall bring in, and they shall know the land which you have rejected. But as for you, your carcasses are going to fall in this wilderness. And your sons shall be wanderers in the wilderness 40 years, and shall bear your whorings until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. So that's part of the deal. So not everyone, there's going to be a 40-year period that these children are going to live through. And they're realizing basically, and they're getting an example of what happens whenever you're not faithful to the Father. So they have to bear those burdens while they watch their family, pass away and not be able to enter in. And I'm pretty sure they get to listen to what to do and what not to do quite a bit during this 40 years. And they also get to learn from, the Father himself and Moshe and Aharon. According to the number of the days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, a day for a year, you are to bear your crookedness 40 years. Wow. And you shall know my breaking off. And you shall know my breaking off. In other words, I'm done with you. And there's more to that. And I am Yahuwah. I have spoken. I shall do this to all this evil congregation who are meeting against me in the wilderness. They are consumed, and there they die. So he said evil. So these people who were grumbling and talking against the Father and talking against Aharon and Moshe, which represents the the Torah itself, the Father's written word, spoken word, him himself, okay, his reputation, okay, the people who he appointed. It's like talking against Messiah. He's saying these people are evil, okay, so they are not indwelled with the Ruach. They are evil, okay, and so they're going to get treated like that, all right? They're going to be consumed in the wilderness, which also could be representative of what? Well, it's separation, I know that much, because they're not being brought into the land closer to the Father where he wants them, to where he can focus on them, the apple of his eye, right? We know those concepts. So anyway, so this is a form of definite punishment because they're not going to make it in. And those men who brought the evil report about the land died by the plague before Yahuwah. He didn't even hold on and wait for those 10 to go through this 40 years. He went ahead and took care of their business right then and there. So that's how the Father keeps his word, right? So he tells the truth. So we should have faith that he's going to do what he says. And we do. Of those men who went to spy out the land, only Yahushua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Yephaniah, remained alive. So there's that. So we have Yahushua, salvation of Yahuwah, Yahuwah's salvation. That's what his name means. And Caleb, which, it's reference to a dog, but yet it's reference to truly, it's reference into faithfulness and trust. Because how faithful is your, man's best friend, right? So this is a big thing and a compliment for him and Yahushua as well. And so what does that get you? All right. So, you believe that your salvation is through Yahuwah and you're faithful to him. Okay. So that's an entry point to the land, is it not? So we're faithful to him and we believe in his salvation. We trust in the Messiah. Play on words. And when Moshe spoke these words to all the children of Israel, the people mourned greatly. You don't want to regret after. You want to go ahead and repent now. You want to turn back from those things now. You want to pray about those things daily. I do. I pray about those things daily. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, and it's easy to get a negative mindset. And if that bleeds into your worship and into your prayer life and into your relationship with your brothers and sisters, it can cause some grief. So we have to self-introspect and work on ourselves on a daily basis. And I am that person that has to work on myself. And unfortunately, you get to watch me fall all over the place at the same time. There's that. So, but that's what happens whenever you have people close to you that you can trust to the degree that you can trust man. They're there for these hard times, and they watch you go through these things, and they also lift you up, and you lift them up when they go through hardships. I have an abundance of brothers and sisters that do that, and my wife and my children, as a matter of fact, that are not children anymore. They're adults, and that's the beauty of Torah-based trust in Messiah and what we profess and what we do. Okay, we try to build each other up and keep each other from too much of this right here, right? Because we all want to enter into the promised land together. And when Moshe spoke these words to all the children of Yisrael, the people mourned greatly, and they rose up early in the morning and went up the top of the mountain, saying, "See, we have indeed sinned, but we shall go up to this place which Yahuwah has spoken of." But Moshe said, "Why do you transgress the command of Yahuwah, since it does not prosper?" It's like, don't go up there. You're told not to. You're told you are going to die in the wilderness. You go and you try this right now. You're not being obedient. You're trying to be obedient after the fact. It's like being sorry after the damage has been done. That's pretty harsh. But that's what you got to deal with sometimes. And it doesn't sound like they're into reality at this moment. At least not the Father's reality. "Do not go up lest you be smitten by your enemies, for Yahuwah is not in your midst." And you don't want that. "Because the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword." He talked about how big and tough they were. Now you'll find out if you try to go up against them without Yahuwah. Ab Yahuwah. Be respectful. "Because you have turned away from Yahuwah. Yahuwah is not with you." That's a scary thing. "But they presumed to go up the mountaintop, but neither the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah nor Moshe left the camp." So the Amalekites and Canaanites dwelt in that mountain, and they came down and smote them and beat them down even to Hormah. I might have to end this video and go ahead and do the third chapter in a different video because I think I've met my limit. But anyway, so they went up, and it's not going to go well for them. I think I'm going to go ahead and make a second video on this particular part of the Torah portion. Thank you, and I'll get back to you here shortly. All right, shalom.